Okay, we're up to Ayin Hay Amid Base, about 12 lines from the bottom. Itmar, Sfina, to go ahead and make a kinyan, how to be kind of a boat. Now, this boat is obviously not a big, huge boat. It must be a boat that you're able to pull, as we'll see in a second. Rav Amar, Kimin Shemasach Kol Shehu. Once you pull the boat even a little bit, and Rashbam tells us a tefach or a chatzi tefach, that's not too much. In other words, if even just really a mashahu, kana, you'd be kind of the boat. Shmuel Amar, Shmuel's of the opinion, lo kana at yimshach es kula. You have to go ahead and be mashach the boat. And Rashbam says the whole length of the boat, that the end of the boat ends up from the beginning of the boat, right? Yeah, if it's 10 feet, you'd have to have like 20 feet, right? The 10 feet plus the boat. Mm-hmm. So the Gemara wants to suggest Lemikit Tanoi, that the Machloikis Rav and Shmuel is a Machloikis Tanoim. Again, let's say the Machloikis Rav and Shmuel, the Amoraim, the great Amoraim, Rav and Shmuel is in fact a Machloikis Tanoim. Ketzad bin Mesira, how do you go ahead and perform Mesira? We're speaking, the Mishnah in Kiddushin is speaking about being kaina a behema gasa. A behema daka is nikdis b'mishicha, withdrawing it. Behema gasa is nikdis b'misira, giving over the reins without the need to go ahead and move it. The big difference between Mashicha and a kinyan, you want to show ownership, a transfer of ownership, right? You're transferring it from his rishus to your jurisdiction. By being mashach drawing it from you, goes ahead and makes it mine. It's now in my jurisdiction. So Mashicha, the kinyan is performed by the kona, the one going ahead and acquiring it. Whereas Masira, since it's very hard to pull this thing, really it's a combination of the makna giving it over to the koina, the Masira, the symbolic giving over of the reins, saying here, I'm giving it over to you. So there it involves both parties. By Mashicha, it really involves solely the kona, the one who's acquiring, and by Masira, it involves both parties, not only the kona, but the makna as well. So we're going to ask from Masira. So we want to know, how do you go ahead and acquire a behema gasa, a heavy duty behema? So ochse betalfa, either you hold on to its hoof or its leg, bisa'ara, with its hair. No, it gives it over to you. But oikif sha'aleha, the saddle on its back. Bishlif sha'aleha, with the cargo on its back. It's something that's contained on its back. Biprumbia shebapia, the bit that's in its mouth. Bizug shebat savara, if this sounds familiar, it's from Case of the Regal fame. Bizug shebat savara, the bell around its neck. Kana, and if this is given over, any one of these things, this is Masira. You give it over, the owner gives it over to the Kona. Ketzad bin Mashicha, how is Mashicha? Korala, you call the animal v'hiba, the animal comes into your jurisdiction. Oishekisha b'makol, or you hit it with a stick, v'ratz telefonov, and runs in front of him. Kimin she'akra yad v'regel, once it uproots its foot, its back foot, and its front foot, then, or front foot, back foot, kana. At that period of time, you are kana. That's the Tanakama. Rav Acha, the Imrila Rav Acha, Rebbe Acha, the Imrila Rav Acha, Omer, Acheta Halech Moli Kamasai, till it goes its length. So the Tanakama seems to say it's speaking about just a little bit. It just to be oiko raglav, it just has to lift up its legs. Whereas Rav Acha requires it to move its body length. So let's say Rav holds like the Tanakama, and Shmuel, who requires the boat to be totally pulled, would hire like Rav Acha. Lema Rav Damaka Tanakama. Rav, who says it's enough to go ahead and lift up a kolshahu, even a little bit of Masira would of the boat, pulling it a little bit of work. The Mashiach also a little bit of work. Shmuel Damak Rav Acha. And Shmuel, who requires the length of the boat, would require just like the length of the animal. So in other words, Rav and Shmuel are arguing the Machlokas Tanoim. And again, as we always say, fellas, no Amora wants to argue with the Tana. They want to come out according to everybody. No Amora wants to argue with the Tana. They want to come out according to everybody. So Amalach Rav says, Rav, therefore, I know Dami Afilu Rav Acha. I know it's not totally in the Machlokas Tanoim, but I can make a chilik between the Mashicha by an animal and the Mashicha by a boat. Again, Rav's of the opinion, by the boat, even you just move it a tefach. Shmuel's of the opinion you have to move the boat its whole length. Therefore, Rav Acha says that what you have to go ahead and move the animal would hold like Shmuel would hold like him, and Rav would hold like the Tanakama who says just the fact that it lifts up its foot and its hand. So we want to go ahead and sushtel. We want to go ahead and compare Balei to what? To a boat.
Back when you also have to walk. You got to walk the length back and forth in the boat too.
That's a chazaka. You're thinking about chazaka. Could be you're thinking about chazaka of a field.
Boat, like how do you cut a boat? You show violence that you walk.
A big, but this is speaking about a sphere, not speaking about a big boat. That could be. I don't know the halacha. I don't remember the halacha of the big boat, but I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember. Now says Rav, I know Dami Afilu Ravacha. I can hold even like Ravacha. I can even like Ravacha. Ad kan like Ravacha that you need to move the animal. It has to pick up its full body and move its length. Ela bebalei chayim, by the animal. The afagav the okra yad v'regel beduchte kaima. If it lifts up its foot and its other foot, it's standing in its place. In other words, it's not going into your rishus. It's not moving. Again, if it lifts up its front foot and its back foot, where is it moving to go into your rishus? It's not. So therefore, Rav Acha says, in order for it to go into rishus, you need the animal totally to move. Aval svina kivin did nada bapurta nada lakula. Once it moves a little bit, it moves. In other words, says Rav, Rav Acha, I hold by both just, a little bit. Rav Acha would agree to that. Rav Acha requires the animal by Mashiach because if he just lifts up his hand, his foot, it's not moving. It's got to go ahead and go on all fours, correct? Without moving. Therefore, says Rav Acha would agree with me by Sfina that it's got to move, even a little bit. Shmuel says by a boat, it's got to move the whole length of the boat. Could agree with the Tanakama that it's enough to lift up a hand and a foot. Ad kan like kama Tanakama elam balei chayim. What is you required to lift up a hand and foot? Kivin de ma'akra yad v'regel idach l'miyaka kaima. In other words, the best is yet to come. If you pick up one hand and one foot, you can be assured that what? The other one's going to follow. That the other foot is going to follow. So in other words, I'll view it as if it's done already. He's picking up one hand and one foot. We know what's to follow is the other hand and the other foot. So therefore, says Shmuel, I who hold by boat, you need to move the whole boat, could hold like the Tanakama by animal. Once you just symbolically lift up one or the other's going to follow. You be kaina. Aval svina imashech lakula in ilayla svina again. If you just move it a little bit, so what? You have to move the whole thing. So therefore, you're not subject to saying that machlokes between Rav and Shmuel is machlokes Tanakama Rav Acha. They can, in fact, say that they can come out. Shmuel can come out according to the Tanakama, and Rav can come out according to Rav Acha. Says the Lema Kahani tonight. Okay, let's take another stab in it. Let's take another stab that the machlokes Rav and Shmuel is machlokes other Tanoim. This gets a little. The words get a little twisted, so I made a chart. The words get a little twisted. Let's first see the words, and then we'll see the chart. It should be on your phones. It should be on Michael. I'm not sure if I sent it to you. Yeah, I got it? Okay, great. Okay. So now, Lema Kahani Tanoi. The Tanya. Svina niknes b'meshicha. A svina is required b'meshicha, which is what Rav and Shmuel both hold. Rav and Shmuel, guys, the question is, how much does it have to move? But they held the Mashiach works, right? The question is, Rav says a little bit, Shmuel says a half a tefach, and Shmuel says, no, it's got to be the whole length of the boat, correct? So in other words, this is not a chiddush. Svina niknes Mashiach. Rav and Shmuel both agree with that. Rav Nosson Aimer, Svina v'oisiyos nikna b'Mashiach. A svina is acquired b'Mashiach. He doesn't seem to argue on that, but he throws in the word oisiyos. Oisiyos are acquired b'Mashiach. Now, what's oisiyos? Says Rashbam, 4 lines to the bottom. Shtar choiv shemachroi. I have a debt. I have a bill of debt. Somebody owes me money, and listen, I need money, so I have a bill of $5,000. This guy owes me $5,000. Listen, I'll tell you, I'll sell to you for $4,000. You'll be able to collect $5,000. Give it to me. $4,000. I'm willing to give it up. So you're selling a debt. You're selling a debt. Or either sell it to him or him. es hashtar, Pesach in the star. He's acquired by Mashiach when he gives it to him. So he goes there and he draws it to him. So the Tanakama only mentions Sfina. He did not mention anything about acquiring a bill of debt. He didn't acquire anything at all. Says Reb Nassim, Sfina v'Yisias niktas b'Mashiach. Now, if you were speaking about hurricanes, and the guy all of a sudden starts speaking about cows, you say, "What are you talking about?" He's speaking about the Sfina. Where all of a sudden does Isis come in? Where does that come in? So says Amid Aleph, says the Gemara, the Isis niktas b'Mashiach ubishtar. Isis is niktas b'Mashiach and shtar. Says the Gemara, Isis man de koshmayu. Who mentioned Isis at all? Says the Gemara, Michsuri Mechsura, the Brisa is missing words. And here's the way you have to read the Brisa. Sfina niknis b'Mashiach. Sfina is acquired b'Mashiach. V'Oisios b'Masira. Reb Nassim Aimer, Sfina v'Oisios niknis b'Mashiach ubishtar. Okay, so look at your chart. Let's see. There's a bunch of words over here. Let's look at the chart and see what we got. Yeah, but just leave that out. So the Tanakama says Sfina b'Mashiach and Oisios is b'Masira. That's what he said. That's the Tanakama. Sfina is Mashiach and Oisios is Masira. You give it over. Reb Nassim said Mashiach is with shtar, Mashiach and shtar, and Oisios is Mashiach and shtar. That's again. Let's see the words in the Gemara, guys. The 2 lines from the top. V'achitani. Sfina niknas b'Mashiach, v'Oisios b'Masira. That's the Tanakama. Reb Nassim is Sfina v'Oisios niknas b'Mashiach u'b'shtar. Good. So now you're set up. Yeah, you're set up. Right? Tanakama Mashiach. Guys, you see it? Now the Gemara is going to ask a kasha. You see the little question mark? Why in the world would you need a shtar by the Sfina? Why in the world would you need a shtar by Sfina? Sfina is metaltalin. How you kind of metaltalin? Right? Mashiach. So why in the world would you need a shtar? So that's the kind of on the question of Rav Nassim. So therefore we're going to redo it and say the following. You're right. It's only Mashiach. Both the Tanakam and Rav Nassim say only Mashiach. That's why only Mashiach. I put a little arrow there. Only Mashiach. Forget the shtar. However, Oisios, you need Mashiach and shtar. You need Mashiach and shtar. Okay. Now the Gemara, back in the Gemara, shtar l'sfina lamali l'tadlihi elolav hachiktani. Sfina nikdas b'Mashiach. Sfina is nikdas b'Mashiach. V'Oisios b'Masira. That's the Tanakama. Reb Nassim Aimer. Reb Nassim says Sfina b'Mashiach. V'Oisios b'Shtar. And Sfina is b'Mashiach, and Oisios is b'Shtar, means af b'Shtar. You would need both Masira and Shtar. Look at the chart, it's there. Guys, look at the chart, it's there. Sfina is b'Mashiach. When it says first Lashon, right? Say first Lashon. Sfina is Mashiach. They both hold that. Both the Tanakama and Rav Nassim holds Sfina is b'Mashiach. Oisios is machlokes. Tanakama says Masira, and Rav Nassim says Masira and Shtar. Masira and Shtar. Good. Now, why would Mashiach not work? Why is Oisios ben Masira? Guys, just before, why would, if Mashiach would not work by a Shtar, but Masira would? Again, what's the nakuda of Mashiach? You're taking it from his rishus and you're bringing it to your rishus. Who's making the kinyan? You are, the koina, totally. I have a shtar that's written on it, X amount, right? $5,000 chayv. If I go ahead and pull that, the act of pulling is only a koina of the metaltalin. What's the metaltalin? The paper. The actual paper. But the chayv not. Masira, when he gives it over to you, what's he giving you? The chayv. He's giving you the thing. So that's why Masira is better than Mashiach. Why you need Masira what by a shtar? It's the Rashbam. You need Masira because Masira, you're giving it over to you. I'm giving you I'm giving you not only the paper, but what's written in the paper, because he's giving it to you. Mashiach, you're doing the whole thing. That would get you the paper. It wouldn't give you what the oisius on the paper. So oisius nikdim Masira. Now, the bottom line is, here's a machlokes. The Tanakama says Masira, and Rav Nosson says Masira and Shtar. Good? Fellas, there is no machlokes what by Mashiach, right? They both say the both, by Mashiach. So l'chayra, what's he saying? He's not arguing the Tanakama. In the first lashon, I didn't even write it because they both followed Mashiach, right? Says, let's see the Gemara inside. Okay. Elalav hachitani. Take it down. 6 lines down. Svina nikdis b'Mashiach. Everyone agrees with that. The oisius b'Masira, and the Chacham say oisius b'Masira. Reb Nosson's of the opinion, Svina b'Mashiach. Svina is b'Mashiach. The oisius b'Shtar u b'Masira, guys. Oisius b'Shtar. If you had a pen, you should write an af b'Shtar, meaning you need Masira as well. Svina Mashiach hainu Tanakama. Afraid the Gemara, l'chayr, that's the same thing as the Tanakama, right? That they're both kind of a Mashiach. Ella, the Rav Shmuel, it could be Nayu. The machlokes must be, but Rav and Shmuel. Look at the chart, guys. On the top left, I wrote Salke Daitach. That's the Samach Dalid. I wrote Salke Daitach, that Shmuel would hold like the Tanakama, that you need Mali Kamasa, you have to move the whole boat. And Rav Nosson would hold like Rav, even Kol Shehu. Why would you say that? So Rishban points out, because if Rav is arguing on Shmuel, if Rav Nosson is arguing on Tanakama, it must be to add something. What would the addition be? You don't need the whole thing. You only need a little bit. That's the way the Rashbam learns. That the machlokes between the Tanakama, they both hold Mashiach, would be the extent of the Mashiach, right? They both hold the boat's Mashiach. But what constitutes Mashiach? So says the Tanakama, you know what? The whole boat. Says Rav Nosson, no, even a little bit. So Rav would hold like Rav Nosson, and Shmuel would hold like the Tanakama. And now we're suggesting that machlokes Rav and Shmuel is the machlokes Tanoim. Shmak. Okay, you see it in front of you. It's right in front of you. See why I found it was going to be a little confusing, right? Without a lot of words, without the chart. Okay, says the Gemara Loi. The Kuli Alma Ikirav Ikishmuel. In other words, no. When he says Mashiach, neither Reb Nosson or Rebbe, either holds the whole thing or partially. They're not. That's not the machlokes. Usvina Ikishmuel Ubesvina Kuli Alma Pligi. Right, and they don't argue. Mashiach, you need a Mashiach, and what's Mashiach? Whatever, either like Rav a little bit or Shmuel the whole thing. Ki Pligi. You know what the machlokes is? Beisius. The machlokes is beisius, as you can see. Tanakama says Masira. Rav Nosson requires Masira and Shtar. V'achi kamalei Rav Nosson l'Tanakama. Bisvina vaday medina lach. When it comes to a svina vaday Mashiach. When it comes to a svina, am vaday moide to you. When it comes to svina, am vaday moide, you need a Mashiach. Beisius says Rav Nosson. No. It's Masira is not enough. Iyika Shtar in, Eloi loy. If there's a Shtar, yes. If there's no Shtar, not. If there's a Shtar, yes, there's not. So now you have your machlokes, it's right in front of you. Good? Okay. Now, this machlokes of whether you need a Shtar or not, says the Gemara, ubeplukte dahani tanoi. And that machlokes from Rav Nosson and Rabbanon is another machlokes. Let's see, Rashbami says something fascinating. The first wide line. Ubeplukte dahani tanoi. Kamifli Rav Nosson and Rabbanon. Machlokes between Rav Nosson and Rabbanon, but you need a Shtar besides Masira is machlokes. The Rabbanon the Hacha Rebbe. The Rabbanon is Rebbe. Rav Nosson Hain Rabbanon will come on. He's the Rabbanon later on. And says the Rashbam, Rebbe Rav Nosson Sleif Mishnah. They were at the end of the Mishnayos. The Rebbe Rav Nossi. The Chaveim Hayu. They were good friends. The Gam Amaroya Li Bayu Ninu. And there's all Amaroyim go according to them. Nino Bahach Brisa, Stam Karebi, Sasam Karebi, we the Reb Nosson. And therefore one Brisa is Sasam Karebi, that's our Mishnah. And the Brisa is the other one's like Reb Nosson. Good. So let's see that machlokes now. Let's see that machlokes now. Stop the share for a second and then we'll go on. Stop the share, S-H-A-R. Not the S-H-I-U-R. Okay, says the Gemara. Okay, again, we want to see whether, according to Rebbe, According to Chachamim, the Kama was enough. The Tanakama was enough. Just Masira. Rav Nosson needed Masira and Shtar. Okay. Ditnan Oisius Niknis b'Masira. Oisius, a Shtar Chayiv that has letters on it, is Niknis what b'Masira. That's enough. Divrei Rabbi. The Chachamim Moimrim. The Chachamim say, Bein Kosav Loi V'Loi Masar, whether he wrote a Shtar Mechira and did not give over the Shtar Halva, or Bein Masa, he gave over the Shtar Ava. Like Kosav Law, he did not write a Shtar Mechira. Again, you need there's two stars over here. There's the actual ICIs, there's the Shtar Halva, and then there's the Shtar that's giving you the right to collect it. So the Chachamim of the opinion, Bein Kosav Lei Masa, what you wrote the Shtar giving him a right to collect, Lei Masa, but you didn't go over the Shtar Halva itself. Bein Masa, you gave over the Shtar Halva like Kosav, but you didn't write a Shtar that gave him a right, like to sell it, like Hana. Until what? Until you give it over Yimsa. That's what you have to do. Okay, so therefore, let's see. So now it comes out. Look at it. I didn't put anything on the chart, but we can figure it out. Let's see. Let's take a look. Right. The Tanakama of the latter brisa, will hold like Rav Nosson, right? That's the Chacham. I did write it, guys. See first lashon. You see where it's Chacham and Masir B'Shtar? Guys, you see? And Rabbi would hold Masir is enough. Good. And Rabbi would hold that Masir is enough. Good. Now, according to everybody, does Rabbi hold that Mashiach is enough by a Sfina? Fellas, does Rabbi hold that Mashiach is enough by Sfina, correct? Look by Sfina, it says the word Mashiach there, correct? So everyone holds it. So now, we've established clearly it is that machloikus between Rabbi and Reb Nosson is a machloikus tanoim in another place. But now we're going to have a problem in Rabbi itself. What's the problem? In the first Mishnah, and the way we set Stein, Rabbi says a Sfina is b'Mashicha. In the second one, it's going to be that Rabbi says that it's b'Masira. That's going to be the problem. Guys, you hear? It's going to be, the problem is going to be, Rabbi says in the first one, Mashicha, and the latter one, he says Masira. Says the Gemara. B'mayu kimta kerebi Sfina nami tikni b'Masira. If you're saying that it's like Rebbe, so it should only be Sfina. So why Mashicha? You should need by Sfina, you should need Mashicha, not Masira. Where do you see that? The Tanya. Sfina niknis b'Masira. Sfina is acquired by Masira, giving over of the Rashbam says, giving over the rope that's attached to the boat, that would be Masira, without pulling it, giving it over. Divrei Rebbe. Guys, there's your stira right there. There's your stira. Rebbe said all along that Sfina is b'Mashicha. Now all of a sudden you're telling me Sfina is what with Masira? Guys, you good? Okay. Divrei Rebbe, v'chacham moimim, leikona ad sheyim shechena. The Chum say you're not kind it until you go ahead and pull it into your reshus. Oy ad sheyischar es mekayma, until you what? You rent its space. Until you go ahead and pull into your reshus, until you rent its space. In other words, if I rent space and it's in the reshus, like kinyan chatzah, you would acquire it, guys. You would acquire it. Good. Now, what's your problem? Rebbe said what in one place Masira, and the other place we said Mashicha. Says more like Kasha, Kam b'Shusarabim, Kam b'Simta. If you look at the chart, this is the last thing on the chart, guys. Where does he said Mashicha? That's when it's Simta. A Simta is the sides of a Shusarabim, where people were accustomed to go ahead and gather and schmooze with their friends, and it's like a no man's land. It doesn't belong to anybody. Rishus Harabim belongs to everybody. Okay, so now we spoke out earlier in the share. What is the idea of Mishicha? Is to draw it from into your Rishus. If I'm in Rishus Harabim, if there's a pond in Rishus Harabim, and the boat for sale is in Rishus Harabim, and I pull it towards me, it's not going to my Rishus. It's in Rishus Harabim. What's Masira? What's the advantage of Masira, guys? The koina, the makna, the one who is bequeathing it, is giving it to you. So that creates of being, it doesn't have to, I don't need my jurisdiction. Him giving it over to me makes it mine. If the boat is besimta. If it's on the sides of Rishus Harabim, where I stand becomes my Rishus, then what you would do Meshicha, because now I'm drawing it into my jurisdiction. If, however, the boat is in Rishus Harabim, in some type of pond in Rishus Harabim, then I can pull all I want, but I'm not pulling it to my Rishus because it's not my Rishus. So what do I need? I need Mesira. I need him giving it over. So depending on the locale, that would go ahead and define the type of kinyan, and that would answer the stira. Like kasha, kam b'shus harabim. When it's b'shus harabim, right? Then when it's b'shus harabim, then you need mesira because you don't have jurisdiction. Kan besimta. When with meshicha work, that's when what? It's besimta. It's the sides of b'shus harabim, and therefore it would work over there. Now, why would mesira not work in the simta? Because it's not normal. If you go down to the Rashbam, where wide lines gets wide, it's a really long Rashbam, but where it gets thin, right before the two dots, about 5 lines up, it says V'kivan. V'kivan the Efsha b'Meshicha, since you're besimta and it's possible to go ahead and pull it into your Rishus, lav urcha de simta b'Mesira. It's not the way of the urcha, of the way of the boat b'Mesira, v'lei makna b'Mesira, and therefore the person is not makna b'Mesira. When Mishem Hachi kamas svina b'Meshicha, therefore it says svina is b'Meshicha, the Yosiyas b'Mesira, the mashma of a svina loy makna b'Mesira. The high kiorchi v'high kiorchi, Sarab b'Mesira, the simta b'Meshicha came near Beinai. Guys, remember, fellas, what is a kinyan? A kinyan is a transfer of ownership. People can make up their own kinyanim. We saw kinyanim de Rabbanan, baka ba yakoini kinav charata, a handshake, right? These are people make up signs that are understood as the deal is done. So the normal way to be acquiring metalton is meshicha. It's not normal to do mesira in a place where you could do meshicha. Therefore, don't be dissuaded if mesira works in Rishus Harabim. Certainly, it's to work with simta. It's not true. It works in Rishus Harabim because I can't do meshicha in Rishus Harabim. But because that's a better kinyan. But where, on the other hand, I do meshicha, right? It's not the urch to do mesira. Let's say it's a better kinyan. It's it shows more bias than mesira because you're not doing anything mesira. It's him being magnet to you. Okay, when you go ahead and rent the place, the area, that's the same thing as Mashiach. Why? Because it's coming into my jurisdiction. Well, for all intents and purposes, it's coming into my jurisdiction, and therefore, it's the kinyan ways. Fred the Gemara, but Mayu came to Lahu Basraisa. You're setting in the last brisa on the Amid Aleph that Rabbi says that a boat is the Mesira. You're saying it's speaking B'Shus Harabim. Aim a sefer. There's a sefer to that brisa. The Chachamim oimrim, and the Chachamim are of the opinion like Kana Achim Shechena. You're not Kana until you do Mashiach. But 1 second, Be B'Shus Harabim. If it's B'Shus Harabim, Miman Oiger. Who are you renting it from? Guys, who are you renting it from? Fellas, we have machloikis between the Tanakama and the Rebbe. Rebbe says Mesira, and the Chacham say either Mashiach or you rent the place. You're saying, you know why you need Mesira? Of course, it's in Rishus Harabim. If it's Rishus Harabim, who, according to the Tanakama, the Chacham, are you renting from? Besu Mashiach Rishus Harabim Mikanya. Would Mashiach Rishus Harabim work? Guys, look at the top line of the Gemara. This is the Chacham speaking. The boat, you don't acquire it, and you're telling me that Mitzias is speaking in Rishus Harabim. If that Mitzias is in Rishus Harabim, how in the world is Mashiach working, and how in the world can you rent a place? You can't rent a place. There's no owner in Rishus Harabim. And Mashiach only works when you bring it into your Rishus. And if it's Rishus Harabim, it's not your Rishus. So how can you say Rebbe says it's speaking Rishus Harabim, and therefore Mesira works? How could the Chacham argue on that? If it's Rishus Harabim, Mashiach is not going to work, and there's no one that's going to rent it to you. Besu Mashiach Rishus Harabim Mikanya, Abaye v'Rava, Damit Shabayu, they're both of the opinion. Mesira koiner b'Rishus Harabim, Mesira works b'Rishus Harabim, u'b'chatzer sheina shel shneim, and in a chatzer that neither one has jurisdiction. Meshicha koiner b'simta on the side of Rishus Harabim, u'b'chatzer shel shneim, and a chatzer that belongs to both of them. V'hagba koiner become makoin, and hagba is koiner what? In every place. Hagba is koiner any place. Okay, so what's the kasha? Nachama. Got nothing outside. Eye contact. We have a Masir, we have a steer in Rabbi. Rabbi says one place that to be kaina a boat is Mashicha. In another place, he says to be kaina a boat is Masira. However, in that brisa that Rabbi says Masira, the Chacham say you need Mashicha or rent the place. Good. So that's and for the Gemara, the first brisa that says Rabbi says Yekoina by Mashicha is speaking besimta on the sides of Rishus Rabin where you have jurisdiction. Thus, I can go ahead and pull into my Rishus. And where it says Yekoina bin Masira, that's speaking in Rishus Rabin. And therefore, since it's Rishus Rabin and I don't have Rishus there, therefore you need Masira. Fred the Mara Bam Kasha, if you're telling me that brisa is speaking by Masira, how could the Chachamim possibly say that Mashicha would work? You don't have jurisdiction there. And Sveitens, how could you rent the place? Who are you renting it from? Who are you renting it from? It's a Gavaldiga Kasha. Okay? And for the Gemara, my Achim Shechena, Nami the Kamar. Umay Achiyas Mekaimer, Umay Achim Shechena, Nami the Kamar, Umay Achiyas Mekaimer the Kamar, Hachi Kamar. Here's Pshan the Chacham. And the guys watch. Really, it's speaking Rishus Rabim. And now we have to Zetzain the Chachamim by Mashicha and Schiras. Hachi Kamar. Achim Shechena Mir Rishus Rabim Musimta. You know what you have to do? You're not koina. Masira is not going to work by a boat. It's going to work when you pull the boat from Rishus Rabim to a simta into your jurisdiction. The imishus bailim he like koina achiyaslim kaima. And if it's Rishus bailim, you won't acquire it until what? You rent its place. So depending where it is, we're just putting in a few extra words. Really, so the teretz stays the same. Besimta, Masira, besimta. The Chacham say no. You have to do Mashicha from the Rishus Rabim to Yom Rishus, and if you're in the Rishus of the owner of the boat, you have to rent the space. You have to rent the place. Let's say Lema Abaya V'Rava Dami Ke Rebbe. Let's say Abaya V'Rava who hold like Rebbe. Here we need the Rashbam. Okay, Rabbi and Rava guys are the ones who said that Mashicha is Kaina in Mesimta and Masira is in Rishus Rabim and Hagbaba Chamakan. So go to Lema Abaya V'Rav Namit Shavayu. It's in the middle of the big wide lines. The Amar Svina Niknis b'Masira b'Rishus Rabim. That they hold like Rebbe and not the Chachamim, but like Rabbanon. Because the Rabbanon hold what? Mashicha. The Rabbanon less lahu Masira Koina b'Rishus Rabim. They don't hold Masira's Koina b'Rishus Rabim. The Misham Hachi Army like Koina Achim Shechenu b'Rishus Rabim l'Simta. V'Hachi Shacher Rabbanon v'Armi Kerebi. So here's your problem, guys. Go to Amid Aleph. Go back to the Amid Aleph. Bottom line: Sfina nikdis b'Masira divrei Rebbe. A Sfina is acquired by Masira like Rebbe. Good. The Chachamim Maimim like Chana Achim Shechenu Achiyas. So again, because the Chachamim hold of a Masira, guys, the Chachamim hold a Masira. No, they don't. Correct? They don't. Rebbe holds a Masira. They don't hold a Masira, right? Now, what does Abai V'Rava say? Go down 5 lines, 6 lines. Abai V'Rava Nemit Shavayu Masira Koina b'Rishus Rabim u'B'Chatz Shein Shel Shneim Mashicha Koina b'Simto B'Chatz Shel Shneim. Why did they just say Masira Koina b'Rishus Rabim? So Abai V'Rava are going to go like the Yachid. They're going to go like Rebbe connected the Chachamim. Guys, we always paskin like the Rabbim. How's it possible Yitachein that they would paskin connected Rebbe, connected the Chachamim and go like Rebbe? You see in the Bais itself. Rebbe says Masira helps. The Chachamim say it doesn't. They say Masira does help. So they're holding like Rebbe, not the Chachamim. Says the Gemara, let's go. Lema Abaya V'Rava Dami Karebi, that Masira helps in Rishus Rabim for a boat, and not like the Chachamim. Amar Ravashi, Amalei, Amar Rashi, Ida Amalei, Leichasik Hukani, Hachanami. If they said, go and acquire it, right, then the Chachamim would agree. You know, guys, the bottom top line when the Chacham say Mashiach works and not Masira is because the owner did not tell you to go ahead and go take it. He said be Moshachit. So Masav the Chacham say Kapeda. The Chacham says Makbid. When he said Leich Moshach Kani, if you do Masira, it's not going to work because he said go be Moshachit, not go ahead and take it from me. Well, Masav Rebbe says Mara Makamulai. Rebbe says he's just Mara Makam. So guys, let's go. Kasha Teretz answer. Summarize. Rebbe, Masira, Chachamim, Mashicha, or Schiras Mekayma. Good. Question on that. That Abai V'Rava are pasking that Chacham to hold the Masira. And for the Gemara, Chacham do hold the Masira. They do hold the Masira. If you say what? Leich Chazak Ukani, they'd hold the Masira. So when Abai Rabbi said the din of Masira, the Chacham would agree with that then, provided you said Leich Chazak Ukani. That brisa, where there's an argument, Rebbe says Masira and the Chacham say Mashicha, is speaking what? Where he said Leich Moshach Ukani. The Chacham said Leich Moshach, he's machbid on the Lashon, so therefore, you need Mashicha. Says Rebbe, no, it's just Marmokim where it is. He's not telling you Dafka Masira. I have a kasha, the Chacham say, if Leich Moshach Ukani, why does it work if you're so machbid on? Why would it work if you rent the place? Guys, you're dressing on Mashicha because he said, go ahead, be Mashach Kni. So if that's the case, why would it work if they said if you rent the place, it would work? What's the answer? The answer is what's Mashicha? He's putting in your rishus. What's chatzah? So he's renting you the place. Now you have rishus, and therefore it would be kshmak.